All right. Hello, everybody. At this point, if you want to relax into your chair and close your eyes, usually meditation is best done with our eyes closed, as it allows us to more easily focus to the inner world with less distractions. And just for a moment, just kind of notice your body, notice your breath. And let that awareness of your breath just start to bring your attention, your focus, your energy right into your center. We so often get pulled outside of ourselves into different things. And to really align with our path perhaps requires finding our own center. If you notice your breath and start to let your energy and attention kind of come into you, into that core and that center. And of course, in the meditation where we're looking at energy, we might consider that center as being in the mind's eye, in the center of our head, and rest our awareness. And if you bring your attention into that place of awareness in the mind's eye, you can acknowledge yourself there. You can say hello to yourself and the sense you have of that inner spiritual self. Just connecting with that part of you. And notice your feet on the ground. Notice that connection, the planet that we would consider being grounded. And just get that sense that, when we talk about our path, of course, that extends across time and into the world. But let's just get a sense that being aligned and connected with our path really is an internal, right in the moment thing. We can be aware of our presence right here in the moment. And since that notion of a path, in kind of a broad sense of a path, is somewhat undefined and ambiguous, let's just use some imagery, kind of visualize where we might be and where we might realign or reconnect with our path. So, if out in front of you, you would imagine a rose, we'll use the symbol of a rose, and that really represents you. Kind of out on a screen in front of you, just envision this rose that represents you. And notice the beauty of it. Notice the vibrancy. Notice how open it appears. Imagine just saying hello to that rose And that rose really represents the spiritual, energetic aspect of you. So that rose out in front of you, notice if it has a stem and let that stem, or if there isn't one, start to envision a stem on that rose that really grounds it, that makes it appear connected. So, this notion of a vertical alignment, we spoke a little bit about the higher self or being connected with that higher sense of our spiritual self. It also includes being rooted, being grounded in reality. We can easily spin out into the spiritual and disconnect from reality. And that doesn't necessarily help us move along our path. There's a groundedness, a connection to reality. As you start to work with this image, just get a sense of what might be around that rose, what comes up into your awareness as distractions. They might be thoughts or feelings, things that pull your attention. As you acknowledge any distractions, you can release them and bring your attention back to that sense of that road. And then somewhere in that image above that rose, a ways, start to imagine a sun, a golden sun. And notice where that sun is in relation to the rose. So in this vision, that's aligning with that sun represents your higher self, is aligning with your path. So if that sun isn't directly above the rose, just start to bring the rose into alignment where it's directly under your sun. And notice what happens as you see and start to align that rose with the sun. As you do that and you see that alignment, then notice if the rose is being pulled off one way or the other. It's leaning, you sense a pull. This is a way to start to let yourself start to see the energies that might be pulling or pushing you off your path or out of alignment. And get a sense that whatever you see around that rose that wants to pull it out of this alignment, you can acknowledge it, say hello to it, and you can begin to release it. Now, just because we're seeing it doesn't mean you won't also perhaps feel it in your body. When you see some of those energies that affect you being on your path, you feel something in your body, you can acknowledge that and release it into the earth. Let it fall away down your grounding. And then begin to get a sense of the connection from that rose to the sun. Let the light and energy of that sun shine down onto the rose. And sometimes when we start to look at something like this, you may see something between the rose and the sun that affects that connection. You can also acknowledge any blocks or energies in there and move them out of the way, release them. Take a nice deep breath. So, in this energy awareness of being on your path and looking at it, there's perhaps two aspects to really being aligned and on your path. So, one is that the rose is right under the sun, and the other is that the rose is open to the energy of that sun. It's open to that alignment. So you might notice how open that rose looks and get a sense of letting that rose open up as you come into alignment. Sometimes when we're not on our path or we're experiencing an energy that's pulling us off of our path, we're in resistance, that rose will close, protect ourselves. As you bring it into alignment and clear the energies and the stuckness in that connection, and let that rose fully open. Then within yourself, get a sense of that feeling and energy of this being aligned and open with your higher self, being aligned and open to your path. We don't have to intellectually know what the path is. Come into this energetic alignment. In fact, it tends to follow that when we come into this energetic alignment and open up to our path, it starts to show up. It starts to reveal itself, so to speak, where we begin to see the things out in our world that align energetically with this path. And we have the openness to follow them. Take a nice deep breath. Notice what's happening in your body. You set this energy and start to align with this connection with the higher self, this notion of being on the path. And with that awareness of what's happening in yourself, anything that feels uncomfortable or blocked, just continue to let that release, let it fall away. Maybe one aspect of staying aligned and on our path or creating our path is not giving too much energy to those things that aren't a part of that path. And then I'm going to add a third thing. So there's this alignment in this image, the openness, the rose. And the third thing as we align with the path is then letting that resonate in the heart, kind of checking that that's in harmony and resonates in your heart. So we want to see the vision, set the energy, and then check in with how that feels and resonates in the heart. And release anything that's in the heart that doesn't resonate. And this might be where we find past agreements, past obligations that are out of alignment with present time. Take a nice deep breath, just noticing that resonance in the heart towards this alignment. And then imagine that in this vision, in this alignment, there's kind of a knowing. There's a bit of information for you about knowing yourself and your path. And whatever that energy is, that knowing, just bring that into the top of your head. Let yourself have that knowing right in your crown. There's a knowing of what it is to be in alignment with your path. There's a knowing of what it is to be connected to your higher self. Let that vibrate in the top of your head. Right at the crown. And then you can release that imagery, see it dissolve away or kind of pop. And be aware of being just centered right in your center. And let's use that imagery of a sun and finish up this meditation by imagining a big golden sun above your head of your energy. And just imagine that golden sun getting bigger and brighter, filling up with all the energy you need to fulfill and create along your path. And then bring that energy down in through the top of your head, down into your body, up. That energize your whole body. Just see that energy come in, experience it, feel it as it comes in. And then when you're ready, you can stretch, move, open your eyes around the world, see how it feels all the way out of that meditation. So that's kind of a meditation that you could do over and over again. That's kind of a meditation I might do in the morning of kind of checking that energetic alignment and then giving myself enough energy to be energized to pursue that, to kind of be in that energy of a path for the day. And you know, as part of that imagery, when I'm in that alignment, then I might look at what I want to do throughout the day, what I want to actually give attention to and do. But that alignment comes first in my mind. Then the question of what to do, it arises out of that, and the answers come from that alignment. So it's not from the distractions of the world, it's from that interconnection.